Hylians! Lately I've been thinking a lot about Breath of the Wild's sequel and what it could bring to the series. Things like new locations, monsters and gameplay mechanics, along with things like the story and how that could connect to other games in the series. Today I want to talk about one of those ideas, in a little discussion video. This idea is something I have briefly mentioned to a couple of friends and fellow Zelda YouTubers, and they really liked the sound of it. So I thought it would be fun to talk about it for all of you. So, today I want to talk about the corruption of Princess Zelda in Breath of the Wild's sequel. Zelda being corrupted or possessed is nothing new for the series. It's happened a couple of times. Most notably in Twilight Princess, where her body was taken over by Ganondorf at the end of the game, and Spirit Tracks, where the whole plot of the game is centered around getting Zelda's body back before the Demon King Malladus can take control of it. So the idea is not really anything new. But the main part of this comes from how it could happen, why it could happen, and what that could lead to in terms of the story for this next game. One thing I'd like to see more if the possession of Zelda happened is, well, Zelda being controlled and possessed. In past games when she's been controlled, we don't see a whole lot of it. It's normally around the end of the game and followed by a boss fight, and after that boss fight she's completely back to normal. To fix this, I would really like Zelda to be controlled by Ganondorf fairly early in the game, and pop up to fight Link now and then. Think of Girahim from Skyward Sword. Girahim showed up in the very first temple of the game as the boss, and then went to show up a couple more times throughout the game. I'd love to see a possessed Zelda used like this. Maybe each time you run into her, she looks a little bit more corrupted by Ganon's malice. Zelda's possession could even be tied directly to malice. Zelda was around malice for 100 years as she fought against Calamity Ganon. I'd be surprised if that didn't leave some kind of mark on her. Zelda may not show it, she may act strong, but I can see over time while playing this game that she could start to change, becoming absent-minded and scared. Being a character who tries her best and always tries to remain strong, she could hide this and not want to worry Link, even if she can feel herself slowly losing control. Leading up to the moment when she is controlled, the malice could even be used to make her do little things out of character, hinting towards something really not being right. The story of this game could even be centered around Link and Zelda needing to find Ganondorf's body to destroy it, to rid the world of any malice left over from the end of Breath of the Wild. And as the malice Zelda was around for 100 years left some kind of mark or connection with her, this could be the main goal pushing us forward. To kill Ganondorf before the malice can drain Zelda of her life, or completely take control of her. But in the end, why might Ganondorf want to take control of Zelda? It's a cool idea having the villain use the princess against the hero, but like I said at the start of this video, it's been done before. In Twilight Princess, the event of Ganondorf taking control of Zelda was a big shock, as it hadn't been done before. And in Spirit Tracks, the entire game is set around stopping Malladus from taking control of Zelda's body. You have a full game of build-up for that one moment. So is there anything that Nintendo could do to really raise the stakes, making her possession more than just a cool moment, and having it be something much bigger and impactful, something which could greatly affect the story of this next game? Well, is there anything Ganondorf could get from Zelda that he doesn't have? Is there something that this Zelda has that other Zeldas haven't? Anything he could control her to do that he can't do himself? Well, there is something. One thing that this Zelda has that others before her haven't. Something that if Ganondorf was able to control could lead to some devastating outcomes. This is of course the full and complete Triforce. From the very first game in the series, Ganon had wanted the Triforce, and when we were introduced to Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, that stayed true. He was the one to split the Triforce as his heart was not in balance. Throughout every game in the series where Ganon or Ganondorf has shown up, he has always been trying to obtain the Triforce. Even at the beginning of the timeline, before Ganondorf was around, Demise, the Demon King, wanted the Triforce. And we all know what happened when Demise was defeated. It is Demise's curse which keeps Ganondorf so focused on his goal, and why he always returns. So what if Ganondorf wants to take control of Zelda? Because with her, he will finally have the full, complete Triforce. Even if he doesn't have it within himself, having full control of the one with it I'm sure would still work for him, at least until he could find a way to take it from her. He may not even wish to take it from her and just use her as a puppet. He may not want to risk having it break and split between him, Link and Zelda again. So many times Ganondorf has been close to getting his hands on the full Triforce, but for whatever reason it never happens. Most of the time it's because the Triforce is split between him, Link and Zelda, and of course Link and Zelda are not going to give over the Triforce pieces of wisdom and courage without a fight. But in Breath of the Wild, Link does not have the Triforce of Courage, and we see at the end of the game Zelda has the full Triforce within her. She uses it to land the final blow and stop Calamity Ganon. So you can imagine if Ganondorf found out about this, he would want to try and find some way to capture Zelda, and as he's clearly connected to Calamity Ganon, it's very likely he already knows that Zelda has the full Triforce. So what if in this next game it starts with Link and Zelda travelling together? Perhaps they already know of Ganondorf and are trying to find a way to stop him before he awakens. At some point in the adventure, I'm imagining around halfway or a little before it, Zelda and Link get separated, and after that they explore separately. But it isn't long before the Yiga find Zelda and take her to Ganondorf, while she ends up stumbling into where he's resting. Her and Ganondorf could then talk, and this is where we could learn how Ganondorf ended up in this situation. But after that, Ganondorf takes his chance to use his power and take control of Zelda. Ganon's power, while still weak, is amplified by the remnants of malice left within Zelda's body, and at that moment she is nothing more than a puppet. With Zelda under Ganondorf's control, he would finally have the full Triforce, and could use it any way he wanted. We have seen many times before in past games what Ganondorf can do with just one part of the Triforce, so just imagine what he could do with the full thing. Imagine what that could lead to. We had spent the full game of Breath of the Wild working towards saving Zelda, and now after all of that, the worst thing imaginable has happened. After all of that work, Zelda is not only captured, but controlled by the King of Evil, and with her he has access to the one thing he has tried to obtain for thousands and thousands of years: the entire Triforce. The entire Zelda timeline leading to this moment, the moment where Ganondorf finally succeeds in his ultimate goal. And we now not only have to find a way to save Zelda, but to make sure he doesn't find a way to take the Triforce from her. And we also need to stop him from destroying Hyrule or taking it over. He could freeze Zora's domain, make Death Mountain erupt and cover the surrounding area with lava, fill the Faron region with poison. He could kill the Great Deku Tree, corrupt all of the dragons with malice, and bring back creatures long since dead. Nintendo have said to us that Breath of the Wild sequel will be the darkest game in the Zelda series so far, darker than both Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. I feel something like this would fit perfectly into a much darker Zelda game. The idea of Princess Zelda being controlled is already a creepy one, but topping it off with Ganondorf finally getting the full Triforce, who knows what he'll be able to do with that kind of power, and who knows what that could lead to for us and Link. So I really want to know what you guys think of this idea. Do you think it could happen, and would you like it if it did? The idea of Ganondorf finally getting the full Triforce is something I have always wanted to see. and I feel that this game could be the perfect time to do it. But anyway, do tell me in the comments below what you thought of this video and the idea itself. If you enjoyed this video, liking always helps me out. And if you're new and want more Zelda content, subscribing is always really appreciated. So thank you all again for watching, I hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.